Bonjour, comment ça va? France has been a country I've been curious to visit because of its vast contributions to the sciences, arts, and the humanities. Going through a science education exposed me to many French scientists, so being in this country should be a journey to remember. Also, I'm a big fan of French Senegalese actor Omar Sy in movies like The Untouchables or Netflix hit Lupin. Since it was day one for me in Paris, I decided to get a feel of the city by just walking around and observing the flow of people to get a sense of Parisian culture. What I noticed is how quiet, peaceful, and clean the environment is. It's very evident that the nature and urban life are of equal importance when designing a space to just be. It's hard to describe such a place with so much history. The architecture, even though old, is beautiful and has a timelessness to it. Every old building got my imagination running about who lived in these spaces and what special event or discovery may have occurred in them. The urban plan is pretty solid for different types of transportation, and I'll later discuss my experience riding the rental bike around Paris. If you're liking my videos, like and subscribe. It'll help me make more videos faster and produce content that you'll enjoy. On my walk, I came across INSEP, one of the world's foremost Olympic and Paralympic training centers. Fun fact, INSEP trains athletes in 28 different sports like boxing, judo, taekwondo, and many more. So there are basketball courts, soccer pitches, gymnastic equipment, running tracks, and more. INSEP also provides scientific performance support to meet the needs of Olympic and Paralympic federations in various fields. By conducting this type of work, INSEP has positioned research as one of the key accelerators for improving performance for French athletes for the 2024 Olympics and beyond. I came across this bustling lane of restaurants and shops with umbrellas providing shade for pedestrians. It reminded me of Pink Street, the nightclub district in Lisbon, Portugal. Despite a good amount of people having lunch, people for the most part spoke in hushed tones with the occasional laughter here and there. The rails in the pavement is a reminder that some tram route used to be here, and combined with the bright umbrellas above, it creates a vanishing perspective in this photo. This reminded me that Europeans don't demolish their past, they manage to preserve and integrate it into the present. After all that walking and sightseeing, I stopped by one of the grocery stores and purchased an iced tea drink and salmon sandwich. Not sponsored by Lipton, but if you want to sponsor this channel, you can email me. I had walked so far from the outskirts of Paris to random places, but I was uncertain on how to get back to my Airbnb, plus I was unfamiliar with the metro, so I decided to just bike home. This bike sharing service called Philippe Metropole is pretty simple to use and has e-bikes as well as mechanical bike. The bike comes with a basket to carry items in as well as all-weather cell phone pouch so you can use your smartphone GPS app. You can rent the bike for an hour, days, or more since it's a subscription service. You just sign up with your email, add your credit card number, and a code to unlock any bike is sent to your inbox. The experience using this service is positive, but the bike is quite heavy and the gear change mechanism very clunky, so exhaustion, butt and leg soreness came quickly. People with their own personal bikes blew past me, but it's all about the experience for me. Taking the scenic route along the Seine River was really relaxing, and I like that there's these electric signboards informing me about the distance to a destination. Fortunately, I had a family member who is familiar with the Parisian metro and guided us on how to read the map. So we caught the train to the world-famous Louvre, a landmark that would definitely broaden my understanding of human ingenuity. Walking through the Louvre gates was a transformative experience because you feel the excitement of other guests, thus making me feel excited too. Did you know the Louvre is the largest single complex museum on Earth, just coming in shy of 73,000 square meters? Here are some other interesting fun facts. The Louvre has existed for 8 centuries. The original structure was built by King Philip Augustus in the 12th century. He proclaimed Paris his new capital, and any capital must have a centralized building. The Louvre was once a home. In the 14th century, King Charles V defeated the English and became the first king to consider the Louvre a residence. Also, 25% of all of Leonardo da Vinci's paintings are in the Louvre. 6 of the 24 paintings are located here. The Louvre is also the largest museum on Earth. The Louvre contains 383,000 pieces of artwork across 80,000 square meters, making it the single largest museum on Earth. This photo of the mini model gives you an idea of how big this museum property is, with all the maintained gardens. Looking at these photos will never ever capture my overwhelming emotion of seeing such intricate and timeless beauty in architecture. When I stood in this great hall of paintings, my understanding of human ingenuity was completely changed. This level of detail in every work of art captured by the artist is beyond understanding. It's a controversial take, but I can understand that when people think of true art, they think of these hyper-realistic paintings and anatomically precise sculptures from centuries ago. It's obvious what the artist was communicating to the audience, so nothing is subjective here. But this opens up a whole debate of what art is, and I truly don't care to have that discussion. The amount of Egyptian artwork, sculptures, and other treasures in this wing of the Louvre was astounding. I look at these hieroglyphs and wonder what they say about the issues of that time, the relationship between people, and responsibilities completed. What I've shown you so far was part of the Richelieu wing, which includes sculptures, decorative arts, Mesopotamian antiquities, and European paintings. At this point, I want you, my viewers and subscribers, to have an immersive experience without me talking for a bit, so enjoy! Writing a script for my experience in the Louvre was difficult and stressful because no amount of words or video could really express how I felt. By the end of my time in this museum, it made me question what type of legacy I would leave behind and what would I be remembered for. A real existential crisis that made me feel exhausted. The Louvre is way too large to see everything in a single visit, so my family and I left to get some food at a nearby restaurant. One of the buildings we passed was Hotel de l'Invalide, a building commissioned in 1670 by Louis XIV in order to provide accommodation and hospital care for wounded soldiers. In 1840, King Louis Philippe decided to have Napoleon's remains transferred to Les Invalides in Paris. The dome structure is actually where Napoleon's remains are held in a sarcophagus. The Luxor obelisk was something that took us by surprise because it looks completely out of place in the middle of downtown Paris. According to my research, on October 25, 1836, the Luxor obelisk was erected in the center of Place de la Concorde by order of King Louis Philippe. It was offered to France by the Viceroy of Egypt as a token of goodwill, and the monolith arrived in Paris in 1833 after an incredible epic voyage on the waves. The Trocadero Square is a popular location with unobstructed views of the Eiffel Tower. Situated on the opposite side of the Seine from the Eiffel Tower, Trocadero is home to splendid gardens, ornamental ponds, and fountains, as well as cultural richness at Palais de Charlotte. And yes, this was the same Trocadero location in the movie John Wick 4. Paris at night is a completely different vibe, but just as stunning. I didn't do a pub crawl in Paris, yet I sensed that high-octane pace of the city moving with or without me. Being at Trocadero Square was just as active as in the daytime. If anything, it could have been more active, just because at night the Eiffel Tower would put on a light show, and it was truly an unforgettable experience. Walking along the Seine and just being in Paris reminded me of scenes from Richard Linklater's films, the Before trilogy. Check out the series if you're interested. Paris, like Lisbon, Madrid, and Barcelona, have plenty of third places to converse in. Basically, a third place is a term coined by sociologist Ray Oldenburg, and it refers to the places where people spend time between home, the first place, and work, the second place. They are locations where we exchange ideas, have a good time, and build relationships. In other words, it's a designated communal space, like parks, places of worship, town squares, and more. Finally, visiting the Arc de Triomphe was a marvelous landmark to walk around. The craftsmanship of this memorial honors those who fought and died in France for the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. No amount of video or photos can capture how astounding it is in person, with every carving representing something important. Underneath the arc, there are names of war victories and 558 generals. Those who died at war are underlined. So why is there a fire under the arc? In 1921, just after the First World War, it was decided to place the tomb of an unknown soldier who died for France under the Arc de Triomphe. But to ensure that this soldier would never truly die in oblivion, in 1923 a flame was placed on his grave so that this poignant tribute would never fade away. There are four major carvings on this arc: the Departure of Volunteers of 1792, the Triumph of 1810, the Resistance of 1814, and the Peace of 1815. When the sun sets in Paris while you're at the Arc, you get an incredible view like this. My trip in Paris has been a wonderful experience that exceeded my expectations, and I'm glad I truly got to spend time here with my family. There's so much to see, explore, and learn in the city, and I wish I had more time here to meet the locals and make friends here. I learned a lot of history, how urban planning can unify communities with third places, and observe why Europeans are perceived as being happier than other countries. Even though France was the last stop of my EuroTrip, I'm really grateful to have visited this continent and will not hesitate to visit again in the near future. If you enjoy watching this EuroTrip series, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.